Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Men Heard 2, a series brought to you by hashtag Coffee with T, and I'm T. This episode is brought to you by LaChaney's Dance and Music Academy, located in Maplewood, New Jersey. Dance and music classes for children and adults. Visit www.lachaney.com to schedule an intro class or call 973-378-3877, 973-378-3877. Good morning again. Welcome to Men Hurt 2, a series where men get to share their truth from their experiences, their education, and just conversations that they've had with other men. We're here to just learn from the mind of a man, and who better to learn it from than from a Black man. So I started this series 1 year ago, so it's our 1 year anniversary. I started this series, Women's History Month, last year to give women 4 men for the month of March to share their journey and to give us some insight in the mind of a Black man, and just to help and educate us as a gift. But it just went on for a year. So I'm happy to be here today with a very special guest, Antoine Nelson. Antoine, listen, this man right here, I met him through Toby, ran Toby, and it was an exciting panel. Antoine is an award-winning and sought-after mentor, speaker, and personal development coach. He is a leading authority on youth development and providing adults the tools they need to succeed. He energizes, motivates, and empowers diverse audiences to take action and take control. A 25-year-old felon with no license, no job history, with child support and fines to pay, but he had a plan. He says, I've been to the bottom and I made it out. Now the plan is to show my people how it is done. Welcome, Antoine. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you for inviting me on the show. Thank you. And congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
When we talked, when you were on that panel, I mean, your transparency and your truth was refreshing to me, to say the least. A lot of people will try to sugarcoat things or be politically correct and not answer questions from the heart, but you so generously gave of yourself that day. And I got so many inboxes and so many people that you don't even know that you helped. So I thank you for your transparency, because I believe truth plus transparency equals healing. So I thank you for being vulnerable in a spot like that. So I don't know if you want to share that story a little bit, but since we talking about how we met.
Well, yeah, all right. So I felt like I was compelled to share that story. When you asked the question, I had that thought wasn't even in my head, but when I pondered a little bit, I just decided to bring that out. So I shared about when I was a child, when I was 8 years old, and I was molested. I thought I was having sex with my babysitter at the time. Me and my brothers was being molested actually by our babysitter. So yeah, I shared that story, and it's crazy because I put it so far in the back of my head that even when I see the person or hear, like I still see the person. I talk to the person. I rarely talk to the person, but I see the person, and we interact at different, like when it's an event or something, and I don't even think about it. Like I could see the person and not even think about it. That's how far I put it back in my head. But yeah, I shared that story, and I felt like I needed to share that story because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that have probably been in the same type of situation, and I want people to be aware of what could happen to your child. Like, be aware who you have watching your child, who you have around your child. I have children of my own, so like I said during that panel, back then I didn't realize exactly what was going on. I just thought like I was having sex, because at 8 and 9 years old, I did know what sex was. I didn't actually know how the act happened, how to do it, but that was how I learned. And that was like my first time doing anything like that. And back then, my mind as an 8, 9-year-old, I just thought I was having sex. But as I got older, I realized that was totally wrong. Like, I would never want my 8-year-old child, my 8-year-old son, to be having sex with a grown woman. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I don't think that's cool at all.
Wow, and you said on that panel something that struck me. You said, I didn't realize until I had my own children how innocent an 8-year-old is.
Yeah,
Because, of course, and we could talk about this too now, of course, we know that boys are taught that having sex is a notch in your belt, or
yeah,
you're a man, and oh, yo, you had sex with your baby, you doing good, not knowing that you were being violated. So you
yeah,
said, seeing the innocence of my 8-year-olds just shook something in me.
yeah, for real. Like I said, like then me as an 8-year-old and the stuff that I was going through, I didn't really feel like, I don't know. I don't even know why it was something that I would have took to my mother, like, because we didn't think about sharing that with my mother. I can't even recall whether or not she told us not to share. We wasn't scared of her like that. So I don't know why I didn't share that with my mother. But I think it was just because I thought that I was doing something that was cool that my mother probably shouldn't have known about. You know what I'm saying? Because even when I was older, when I did start actually having sex, I never shared that with my mother either. It was just something that I guess I didn't think that it was okay to share with a woman or my mother.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like me thinking about it right now. Like, I never shared with any adult when I started having sex. We just shared it amongst each other, like our peers. Like, but other than that, we didn't talk about it. Like, nobody told me. I snuck and watched porno tapes, and that was my first, that was my first, like, okay, this is how it's done. Like, and I can recall part in the X-ratedness in this, but I can recall like my first actual time having sex with a young lady, and I could just remember having this going fast, because in the video they just went fast, just go fast.
This is so good because you didn't share with your mother because you didn't feel like you were violated. You didn't feel
Yeah,
like, oh, somebody did something to me. Like if somebody beat you up in school,
yeah,
or if somebody really did something to you that you felt wrong. You didn't feel wrong. You felt like this is okay. I'm
yeah,
supposed to be doing this.
yeah,
So let's talk about, you have daughters and sons. So we tell our daughters, sex is bad. Not to say bad, but to say to have it now is not good. Don't do this. Don't do that. Protect your
yeah,
virtue. You are
yeah,
a virtuous woman. Guard your heart and all this other stuff. Do we have those same as a man? I know as a woman, we don't have, I did because I have 3 sons. So it was a different kind of conversation with them, or no conversation, really. Let me be honest, of no conversation, because it's very uncomfortable to look at my son to
yeah,
even fathom, still ilk to this day. Just even think about my
yeah.
son, and he grown. Yeah. But do fathers have those, treat daughters differently? Because I've experienced men who had daughters and men who have sons. So what is the teaching process there, what you have in both boys and girls?
So, all right, let me say this, right? So my son is only 3 years old, right? And I have my daughters. I have teenage daughters and adult daughters, and I have nephews and nieces that I help raise too. So what I can say is it's different. It's definitely different. Um, I don't even know. I never allowed boys in my house. I never allowed I never really allowed company, and I didn't like company. Like, I didn't like my kids to have company. I didn't like my kids to spend a night at people's houses. I never really was into that. And it probably boils down to some of the stuff that I know that I did, and some of the stuff that we did. Like, I remember stuff going on, like spending the night with cousins and spending the night with different families, and we used to like play hide and go get and stuff like that. And just me thinking about the stuff that I did, like I know that where I come from, I came from the city. I was born and raised in the city, and we did a lot of stuff with a lot of people. We was in environments where it could be 10 kids together on a regular day type situation. So I remember like parents going out and kids, you know, it probably was a babysitter, but the babysitter wasn't babysitting to the T. So we used to do like different stuff, and I always just remember like, nah, I don't want my kids spending the night at people's houses.
Oh,
especially girls, because I just felt like I've been around some perverted men. Like,
say it.
I know, not to say I haven't been around perverted women either, but I've been around a lot of perverted men, like men who be looking at kids, they don't look at kids how they supposed to. And I would not want to put my daughters in that type of situation.
Wow.
And even though like I was violated, me and my brother was,
Go ahead, finish.
Even though me and my brother was violated by a babysitter, I feel like, and I probably shouldn't feel this way, but I feel like a boy could probably defend himself a little more, and maybe that a woman wouldn't be looking the same way that a man would. But I seen too much, you know, so that's why I am the way I am, especially with my girls.
Right, but has this experience, do you think this experience, because your son's only 3 now, right? So he's always with you. But this experience, do you think it has changed your perspective on how you're going to operate with your son now, and how other men should operate with their sons, and mothers should operate with their sons? Because you said, you know, it might be a little bit different if they was boys. I probably would let them go. But with the dynamic of perverted women that are out here, women are predators too. And we need to say that. We see it on TV all the time, the teacher that slept with the student that got the teacher pregnant, and all this other stuff. So do you think that it has changed your perspective just a little bit? Because your son is going to be 14 before you even blink your eye.
So I feel like I'm going to be the same way with him, as far as I'm not really into him just spending the night at people's houses. But I will say, like, I can recall like my nieces growing up and not being able to have male friends in the house, like boys in the house. But then my nephews were able to have like girls in the house. I do recall that. And my thing is, I'm not really cool with nobody being in the house. Like, I don't like it. I just don't like it. We'll find a different place. We'll be active in a neutral environment. Like, I don't like it.
I love it. So let's talk about the dynamic of mother-son relationships, right? How important is a relationship with a mother and a son? And does it affect your personal relationships now? Your relationship with your mother, how important is that? And how important should we as women and the world know that if a man didn't have a good relationship with his mother, or if a man had a good relationship with his mother, how does that affect a man?
I believe that a mother's love, the way a mother loves her child, will reflect that. The way a mother loves her son will reflect emotionally on him. I say that to say, like, if this mother is giving him hugs and telling him I love him, and, you know, just the emotional part, because a lot of women don't like to, especially once the young man gets a little older, you stop showing, like, you stop giving the extra hugs and the extra kisses and the wiping the. I feel like a lot of women stop that because, you know, you want them to be a man, especially women who are holding down a single parent household. You want to somehow project some masculinity on him, so you don't want to be too soft with him. But I think they should continue to do that, because it like when a person gets older, when that boy gets older, you want him to love on his ladies, on his wife or his girlfriend. You want him to love on his daughters, because a lot of us who come up in single parent households, we only learn from that one parent, right? So if my mother stopped hugging me, I'm gonna think like it's maybe something wrong with hugs. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like if you continue to hug on your daughter, but you stopped hugging on me, like what's wrong with me?
Oh my goodness. You're gonna make me cry. Because you know what? No, I'm so serious, because that is like, because we don't know what we don't know. Because after a while, our sons, you know, they don't want to kiss you in front of people no more. You know what I'm saying? But we lose that inside the house. And we don't understand that they don't want you to kiss us in front of the girls or at the school because they don't want to feel that way. But at home, they still need that nurturing. And I'm so glad that you said that, because like I said, I have Black men on here really because we need to understand that there's a lack of love. You feel a lack of love when your mother stopped hugging you at a certain age, and we don't know that. So I just thank you for your vulnerability right there, because that just made me so sad, because I probably did it. I'm not sure if I did, and I have an 11-year-old, I have a 21-year-old and a 26-year-old son, and I'm always on top of my 11-year-old. You know, still like hugging him and kissing him. And the other day I said to my 21-year-old, because we've been trapped in the house, I said, "You want a hug?" And he was like, "Okay, but you know why?" I said, "Because we're human." He's always online. That's a whole nother generation. But he's always online. I said, "Because we real people." And just you saying that brought something to me, because my oldest son, who's 26, you know, we have some conversations that we still need to have. So how do you have I know you didn't have the conversation with your mom.
It's no shade to the single mothers that's holding down the household, because I believe that they're trying to figure out how to be mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Like how to bring some masculinity without turning him in soft or whatever. So they don't understand, like, but I still believe that even in the household where the single mothers is holding it down, I still believe you need some type of, maybe it be an uncle, maybe it be a mentor, maybe it be a coach, some type of male around them that show them a different type of love, you know?
Right. But do men show that love? I mean, we're in a society where a man being vulnerable and hugging another man or saying, "Yo, I love you, bro," is considered a weakness. So are men showing that love, and are men being showed that love?
It depends. Like me now, I have a 3-year-old that I'm able to raise. So now I know that, like, now he comes up to me, hugs me, kisses me. I don't want that to stop. Like he could be the toughest guy ever. He could be the quarterback for the Denver Broncos. I still want him to run up to me and hug me after the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's nothing wrong with that at all.
He really thinks he's a lion.
I saw your post. Really, he thinks he's Mufasa and I'm Simba. He'll come in and bite my head and come up under me, but like, I men, like, we want to be the toughest people in the world, but we still need, because it's hard because, like, me myself, right? So me myself, I come from a household where I was raised in a household with 3 boys, me and my 2 brothers, and we was rough. Like, we was rough, and it was like, in the area that we grew up in, is boys not really supposed to cry. We always was taught, like, boys not supposed to cry, stop acting like a girl, not supposed to cry, right? So then once I moved on and got a little older, played football, same thing, coach screaming on you. It's no, I mean, when you look at it years later, you appreciate them for how they treated you, but it's no really no love there. It's love, but it's just coming in a different way, right? It's coming in a different way, and you don't realize it till later on. And then for me, I left from high school. I was still in the streets, right? There's no love in the streets, because love will get you killed in the streets. There's no love in the streets. Love will get you killed out there. You try to show love, love will get you killed. From there, I went to prison. it's no emotion being showed in there. I don't care if your mother died, your father died, your sister died. You can't go back to your bunk crying because people are gonna take advantage of that. So there's no love there, there's no emotion there. And then you come back to the streets, now you're an emotionless being. So now how do you show emotion to somebody you love? It's kind of hard. You have to, it's really difficult. You gotta change your mindset. Me, the way I did it was just reading. I still lack emotion in certain situations, but I did a lot of reading. Like I did a lot of reading about like on women and what women want and how to be a gentleman. And me reading books about being a gentleman taught me patience with women. And just being able to try to figure them out and to know what they want, that would taught me to be a little bit more patient with women and just the whole situation. But I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of men that's growing up and taught to be emotionless. So it's hard to show love to your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance when you were raised in environments where you're not supposed to show emotion.
Wow. Listen, I dropped the mic. You just freed so many women. And I'm not even talking about just intimate relationships. I'm talking about relationships with mothers and sons and people on jobs that are dealing with men who are emotionless because they've been taught to be emotional. You lose your job, you don't go home and cry. Yeah. So you just opened up so much for us just now to be vulnerable. Because a lot of times men won't even say this. What you're sharing right now, they're like, I'm not saying that. Like, I ain't no punk, I ain't weak. But this vulnerability is a strength. And this is what I want Black men to learn who are listening to this. Because you said there's no love in the streets. There's no love in jail. There's no love when you come home, because love for men is a sign of vulnerability and weakness. So I just thank you so much. And how did you turn your life around from the street? I'm a girl from the hood too. I'm from Essex County, New Jersey, all over. Mama was a Rolling Stone. We sometimes couldn't pay the rent, had to move in the middle of the night. So I know how I was affected, and I get that grace and mercy as a woman, but men don't tend to get that grace and mercy. But how did you turn your life around from being a felon, from selling cocaine on the streets, from, sleeping with different women, from breaking up, from being an outside parent? How did you even just turn your life around to be such a youth mentor?
So I actually was, like, before I got like into the streets heavy, I was like an academic. All through school, I was who's who among American high school students. I was honor roll student all through school. Up until my 10th, like I was on my way to Morehouse. That was my school that I was going to. I had garbage bags full of letters for academics, and I played football, but I had garbage bags full of letters. So I was on my way to Morehouse until I got into the streets. And then like it kind of changed me for a while. But I always knew once I went to jail, I always knew like this wasn't for me. Like, but I did feel, from where I came from, I did feel like this was just something that we all have to go through, jail. For some reason, I felt like this is, even my peers, before I even caught my first charge, I remember one of my friends saying, like, you never been to jail before? Like, you ain't, it was like I wasn't cool because I never went to jail before. And I remember wanting to go to jail just to say I went to jail and to experience it. I remember being like that. So once I got into jail, once I was sentenced to some time, and I remember just sitting there like, this not for me. Like I was just supposed to be going to Morehouse. This was not where I was supposed to be headed. So while I was in prison, before I even got sent down from prison, the county jail that I was in, they had professors coming from Union County College to facilitate college courses. So I took whatever college courses I could take in there. And then when I got down prison, it was the same situation. College professors was coming down and facilitate real college classes. So I took as many college classes as I wanted. I mean, as I could take. and I took paralegal courses down there. So I was working in the law library while I was in prison, and I was the prison lawyer for people who caught charges in prison. So I was doing that. I was helping people come home. I was writing case law, helping people get reconsideration for their sentences. I'm doing all of that stuff, and I couldn't get myself out though. Like I'm getting people home earlier, but I couldn't get myself out. I had a extra case that I couldn't get rid of. But fast forward, like I remember I was in the hole. I was sitting in a hole. I had 25 days in the hole. I remember exactly. I had 7 days in. I was in there talking to myself because I had nothing in there. I couldn't talk to nobody. Like my closest roomie was like 4 doors down. I didn't know him. I couldn't talk to him. So I was like busy just talking to myself, just trying to keep my head straight, keep sane. And I'm just singing rap songs that I know. I'm making poetry in my head. I'm just trying to do anything. And it just, at that point, that's where I call it the bottom. At that point, I felt like this, you can't get no lower than this point right now. I'm in here with everything I own, which is nothing. There's nothing in here. I'm in the cell. I don't have soap. We only could take a shower on Tuesdays or Thursdays. I couldn't talk to nobody. And I was just like, how did I get here? I was supposed to be maybe going to the NFL. I was supposed to be in Morehouse. How did I end up here? And from there, I just was like, you know what? This is it. Like, and I had kids that I left on the street. I was gone for 49 months. I came home to 3 children. I had 3 children. And I was like, I can't leave my kids anymore. I actually wrote down, and I still have it. I have a letter that I wrote down, like all the things that I was going to do and all the things that I wasn't going to do when I come home. I don't matter what. I had books that I wanted to get, that I wanted to read. I had, at the time, CDs that I wanted to get, music that I wanted to listen to. And I had a plan. I had a plan when I came home. And I remember coming home with my girlfriend. I came home November 3rd, and she was like, I know you've been going for a while, but you need to get it together. She was like, I'm gonna give you until January 1st to have fun and see your family and your friends, but January 1st, you need to be enrolling back in school. You need to be getting a job or whatever. So like I could say I had a support system when I came home, and that's what I did. I worked like 3 jobs. I was working 2 and 3 jobs and going to school at the same time, just trying to, because I never had a job. Up until, like I said, 25 years old was the first time I had a job. And I was just trying to build a job history. And at the same time, just go to school, because I felt like, 1, I'm Black. 2, I'm a Black man. 3, I got a criminal record. 4, I don't have any job history. So now I gotta add something extra to the table. And it was a personal goal of mine always to get a college degree. Like no matter what, no matter how much it costs, not for nobody else. I just wanted to get me a college degree. And I felt like, because I had all those strikes against me, that I needed that to be on a level playing field with everybody else. Because I'm coming home 25 years old with no job history. I'm competing with high school students for jobs. You know what I'm saying? So I just kept going from there. Like I'm working 2 and 3 jobs. As I'm working these jobs, I'm always looking for a different job. I'm always filling out applications for a better job, a higher paying job, a job that's less straining. I don't want to keep working in these warehouses, breaking my back. I didn't want to do that stuff. I know I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make money with my mind. And I just kept, searching for those things. And what happened was I relocated because I'm born and raised in Elizabeth, and I felt like it was too many temptations in my city for me. Like it just was a lot going on, and I wanted to get away from that, take a step back from that, so I could grow. And then if I needed to come back, I could always come back, because I moved an hour away. So if if they needed me, I could be there within an hour. But I found myself like being an hour away. Some of the stuff that they would need me for, they wouldn't call me because I'm not like as accessible, you know? So I just went from there. Like, I remember I moved on to Rutgers University from the county college, and Rutgers in Camden is right next to a halfway house. I didn't know what it was, but I remember seeing people that I knew that I was locked up with going in and out the building. So I went in there one day to figure out what this is and what's going on. And I found out it was a halfway house. And I was like, wow, I had been through the halfway house system. I had been through, and I was like, I went in and I asked them about employment, like what kind of jobs they had there. And they was like, as long as you are 18 months off of parole or probation, you can apply for the jobs there. So I did. And at that time, I only had 2 jobs, like a telemarketer job. My job history consisted of a telemarketer job and a Pathmark job working produce. And so I didn't really have a job history, and I had the record. So they was telling me, like, we're going to give you a 90-day probation and see how it worked. And the dude really was like, we only hired you because you came in a suit and your suit was nice. Like you put it was some initiative that you did. So I that was something that I had read, like me reading. I was like, yeah, you gotta come in your best. Like nobody told me that. So there, once I got the job, it was over. I was just helping people that was in the same predicament that I had been in. And from there, I just kept, growing, got my degree, and I just kept moving forward from there. I did slip back though. I did take a slip back and caught a charge. Maybe like in the middle of me, probably my junior year of college, I did slip back thinking that, maybe I won't deal with everybody, or I only deal with the people I know. I'm thinking like I could get a couple points, because money was hard for me because I was paying a lot of child support, right? I was paying $1,200 a month child support, trying to live too, and it was hard. So I dipped back thinking that I could make a couple points off, dip back in the game. I still knew everybody. I still knew how to do it, whatever. And what happened was, I ended up getting caught in a situation where a dude that I made a transaction with had on a wire, and he had actually taped the whole conversation that we had, trying to get me. He had caught a charge, and he was trying to get himself out of the situation. So he agreed to wear a wire and put on the wire with me and got me caught up. And it's crazy because I was facing 90. I remember going in front of the judge, and he was like, Antoine, do you know you're facing 96 years in prison due to your record? And I just was like, yeah. And I fought that case. It's crazy because I got off on a technicality. I fought that case for 3 years while still going to school, while still helping other incarcerated individuals get their life together. I never told them that I was facing this case, but I was facing, like, the first offer was 20 years. And I'm just like, wow, I can't go back. Like, all of this stuff that I accomplished and I slipped up, and how can I go back? But I pay attention to a lot of things. And during that time, the detectives that arrested me, what happened was they were from the Trenton area, right? So what happened was, like 6 or 7 of them was at a club one night, Kathmandu in Trenton, and they took a female home, and she called rape, right? So me paying attention to what's going on, I'm paying attention to the officers, and I noticed in the paper that the officers that was handling my case, they were arrested for the rape. So I'm like, they can't come to court as an officer, being that they're suspended for this rape case. So as I'm going back and forth to court, they're like, yeah, take this 20 or go to trial. And I'm like, let's go to trial, because I know that these officers can't come to court. So for 3 years, they offered me 20, not taking it. It went down to 18, not taking it, go to trial. 15, not taking it. 3 years, they go 10, 7, we not going no lower. 5, not taking it, not taking it. 3 years, and I'm like, I should probably stop playing with them and just take this 3 years, because, and then I'm like, nah, they still can't come to court. I'm not taking it. Boom, not taking the 3 years. They go down to 1 year, do 364 days and 3 years probation. And I'm just still like, I'm not taking it. I didn't take it. And then I remember they offered me probation, and I was like, I should just take probation. Just take it. And I was like, nah, I'm not taking probation, go to trial. And then I remember reading a newspaper, the girl had recanted her story, and the officers were going to start back. Their suspended sentence was over, and they would start back at the desk on Monday. And I called my lawyer, and I was like, yeah, let's take that probation. And took that probation, and I didn't look back from there. Like, I was just like, the game has changed. There's no reason for me to be trying to, I look at everything now like this. Like, I could go make a quick sell or something and make $1,000 off of it, but that $1,000 sell will land me in jail for 3 years probably, or 5. Being that I got 7 convictions, I got 7 felonies. So I'm not gonna get a year for something I do. Like, if I do something, I'm gonna get a lot more time because of my record. So I was like, is the risk worth the reward? Even if I could get 10,000 on this transaction, is it worth me doing 3 years? No. If I get 100,000, is it worth me? I wouldn't trade that in. I wouldn't trade no amount of money in for me to go back to prison. I just wouldn't do it. So to me, the risk wasn't worth the reward any longer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what made me change. And then leaving my kids, like, I didn't want to see my kids grow up in a situation like I did, not without like my father being like present.
Wow. Listen, that is powerful beyond power. If you just tuned in, you're tuned into Men Hurt Too, a series brought to you by #Coffee with Tea. We are celebrating our 1-year anniversary with this compelling story and how Black men can turn their lives around and become all that they are supposed to be. This is brought to you by Clean Everything LLC. Services provided: commercial, residential, and industrial. Move in and out, cleaning, clean out, bulk removal, carpet cleaning, post-construction, windows, steam cleaning, fog sanitizer, and disinfectant. Clean Everything LLC can be reached at cleannjny1@gmail.com or at 862-520-3010. You can follow, friend, and like them on Instagram at cleannj2020. We are here with Antoine Nelson, and he is sharing from his perspective as a Black man and sharing his truth of how he overcame everything that was supposed to destroy him, how he learned how to fight for himself in prison, how he helped other inmates get out of situations that they were in, how he went to a halfway house to help other people when he didn't have to. He could have got a job anywhere else, but felt compelled to go do this. So I love it that you are a youth mentor on so many, beyond just a regular youth mentor, that you went to a whole nother level of trying to help our young Black boys. And I so appreciate that with all my heart, because I know as a Black mother, I didn't do everything right with my sons because I just didn't know. And one thing that you said that I want all of the Black moms listening, that is key, whether you're a Black mom, a Black grandma, auntie, whoever, if you're raising boys by yourself, please, the best thing he says, one of the best things he said was, get a mentor, an uncle, a coach. We can't raise men alone. We just can't do it, ladies. I'm sorry. I know we all like, we don't need no man, and society has really turned us now that some of us are the breadwinners. No, we need men. Men need men. Our sons need men. Our nephews need men. So let's please be open to that and reaching out to Antoine, and he'll give out his information at the end of our broadcast. So just tell me about the importance of youth mentorship in our Black boys.
Man, I mean, it's so crucial because you got to think about it. The youth are the next generation. Like, who's gonna wipe our butts? You get what I'm saying? Like when we get older, who's gonna wipe our butts? These kids, right? These are the kids that's gonna wipe our butts. These are the ones that's gonna take care of us. Like they determine the future. Like they're gonna create the laws. The future is them. So like I feel like every generation should leave the next generation a little better, right? So like my generation, me and my brothers, we were involved in a system, right? And overall, my generation that's coming up under me, my nieces and nephews are homeowners. They're married already. I wasn't even thinking about marriage at the age that some of them are. Some of them are married already. They like I said, we grew up in a system. I have a niece that's a parole officer. I have a nephew that's correction officers. I have nephews that's state troopers. Like before, I used to think like, cops bad, because that's what any interaction that coming up, the interactions that I had with police were all negative interactions, right? So now I'm looking at my nephews and they're in position to, like, we need people at the table. Like for change to happen, we need to be at the table. So if I got a nephew that's a police officer, he's at the table to where, like, in the neighborhood that I'm in, he's patrolling. So I could stop and wave him down and talk to him and tell him what's going on in the neighborhood, something that he could help with or something like that. Before, we didn't have that. We had all negative interactions with the police officers. Now I got a niece that's a parole officer. I could have her. I have her coming in, speaking to my youth about law enforcement. I got nephews that state troopers. I could have them coming in speaking to the youth about law enforcement and stuff like that. Even I teach my youth to consider going into the reserves and going into the military. Like before, I remember, and it's crazy because I remember watching Boys in the Hood as I think I was like 10, 11 when it came out. I remember watching Boys in the Hood, and Lawrence Fishburne, as the father, told his kid that he told his son, and then he told Ricky, he was like, the military is no place for Black people or Black men. He said that. And when he said that, that was the reason why I said, no, military not for Black people. And I just took it as that. Nobody else ever told me anything bad about it, but I just was like, military not for Black people, because he said it in that movie. But as I grew older and I started to realize, like, especially for people that's coming up in, in poverty, I believe like the reserves and the military is a way out. Is financially, you could get through school, like you is a brotherhood. Like it's so many pluses and benefits in joining the military. Like it's just a lot of things that we gotta retrain our minds on.
This is so good. Listen, I just want our mothers and fathers out here who are listening. So something that you just said, Lawrence Fishburne in a movie acting a script that was written said the military is not for Black people. We are so impressionable as youth. The stuff that we watch set it off. We watched some movies that made us think certain stuff.
Yeah.
And we do have to unlearn of it because they were just movies. Just like our children are growing up on reality TV, which is not reality. And our daughters are out here wanting to be Cardi B. Not Cardi, I'm not judging you or anything, because praise God, you're capitalizing off of the opportunity that came your way. But that's not the reality of our daughters in the hood. That's not your reality. Everybody ain't gonna be Cardi B. Cardi B gonna be Cardi B because she stripped and she really went on Love and Hip Hop and made an empire out of that. But everybody's not gonna be that. So we have to retrain our minds that, and we as parents and caregivers have to understand that this is what's being embedded in our children's mind. And if we don't sit down and have conversations with them and have them in youth mentoring groups and programs and gymnastics, like my niece, like you said, my niece is 36 years old. She bad. She started a whole postpartum movement for postpartum mothers. She has a whole app matters. Like, where y'all come from? So we have to make sure we catch those who are not exposed to certain things and put our sons in these youth groups. And I'm really concerned about our Black men, because our young Black men and our Black boys, because our young girls are getting exposed to a lot of different avenues and healing and seminars and retreats, but our boys aren't. So how can we help you with what you're doing?
Let me speak on something that you just said. Like I remember we were taking the so like I said, I'm from Elizabeth, the downtown area. So I remember we got on the bus and we was taking the kids to Essex County somewhere, to a school for a play or something. And I remember riding past Newark Airport to get there, and one of the kids was like, wow, airplanes. And I'm like, you never saw these airplanes before? Like, you gotta ride this way to go almost anywhere. And the kid like really never rode past Newark Airport before. Now, mind you, that's like 5-7 minutes from his house. Like he was stuck in that box. Like he really never left those four corners of his block. So like after that, like one of the as far as the mentoring program, we always wanted to show them different things and expose them to different people. Like we took them, I don't know if I told you, but every year at the end of the year, we did a year-end retreat where we take them to like different camps. We did the Poconos, we did a couple camps in New Jersey. Then we took it a little further. We took 50 kids to Disney World from the hood.
Wow.
Yeah, we took 50 kids. That was 2018. We took 50 kids to Disney World. 2019, we took 50 kids to the Bahamas, out of the country. I don't know no groups that took 50 kids from the hood out of the country, but we did that. Shout out to Sons of Someone and Someone's Daughter. We did that. We took 50 kids, probably 10, 11 chaperones. We took 50 kids out the country on an airplane.
That is
but
huge.
just that, just being exposed to different things and different environments and different worlds. Like they could just pick on, they could just be looking at a fruit tree in the Bahamas and want to study fruit. I don't know, like one thing could just change the whole trajectory of a kid's life. So I'm always looking to expose them to new things and outside of the box things and different ways on how to get paid, like different skills on how to pay the bills. That's super what I'm big on when it comes to the youth, because like I said, they are the next generation and we want to leave them a little better. Like if I rented all my life, even if I never bought a house, I want to teach my kids how to buy a house. So then they could start off with one house, and then the next generation, they'll start off with a complex, and we just keep on building from there. That's the legacy that I'm looking forward to.
I love it. Listen, you said something too from the beginning. You said, I moved out of Elizabeth because I had to get out of that environment. So we do have to expose our children to different environments, because if you only can grow as far as what you see. It's like a plant will outgrow a pot. And after it has outgrown that pot, if you don't move it, I don't care how beautiful of a plant is. I don't care how much you water it. I don't care how much sun you give it. When those roots have nowhere to expand, it begins to die. I'm a plant person. So I have to repot my plants when they outgrow their environment. This pot is too little. You got to get me out of here, or I am going to die, or I am going to do something, or I am going to conform to the streets. If this is all I see, like our young boys, everybody is like, be an NFL player, be a basketball player. No, be the lawyer. Yeah. Be the agent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Own the building, own the team. Like we got to get our boys out of that box of this is what exceptional is. There are levels of exceptional. The people who are behind the athletes, that athlete cannot do what he's doing without a team behind him. And you could tell that by some athletes who have failed financially because their team wasn't correct behind them. And we won't go into names because we all know athletes that failed. So how important is community for our boys and just for us in general as Black people?
I think I'm gonna say this, right? So I me and 6 other people, we created an investment group, right? We did all our, got all the documents, all the paperwork, all the LLC. It probably took a year to get just the paperwork and the wording to everything correct. And we got together, we pooled our money together, and now we starting to invest in different things. Like, and that's, to me, that's like community. Like when you work together on a common goal, like if I would have just did it myself, I wouldn't have been able to acquire the things that I could acquire by myself. But when you work together and everybody play a role, like we got one person that's the secretary, one person that's the president, we got one person that might be doing the dirty work. Everybody play their role, and then like we're gonna grow. It's just so much more that we could accomplish when we work together.
So teamwork makes the dream work.
Definitely.
I'm big on that. It's so hard because we've been taught this crab in the barrel mentality that there's not enough. There's enough for everybody.
Yeah, it is. It is. And even like, so I started, one of my mentors told me, he was like, you are a brand. Everybody is a brand. No matter what it is that you're doing, like you are a brand. So he was like, you need to have some merch to sell to people. You need to have some type of merch to sell. So I remember I just started off with t-shirts. And this is one of the t-shirts right here. I remember I started off with t-shirts, and I was just like, I didn't really want to do it, but I felt like I was listening to my mentor. You're a brand, so you should have some type of merch to represent yourself. And he also, this is a gem for anybody listening. He was like, you should, on your birthday, every year, you should have a product, some type of product to sell to the people that support you. Because on your birthday, they'll be more likely to purchase something from you to support you on your birthday. So what I did was I dropped my merch on my birthday, and it just, like, I'm a mentor, like my business is mentoring and coaching, but the merch just went off. Like I was just trying to sell a couple t-shirts, but it just went off. And then they was like, oh, you don't got hoodies, you don't got hats. And so I just started buying more and more stuff, and it just started to blow up. And I remember when you said the crab in the barrel mentality, I remember people like, oh, everybody got t-shirts. And I'm trying to tell people, like, I'm not competing with nobody local. First of all, I'm not competing with nobody. Second, I'm not competing with nobody locally. I'm trying to get with Ralph Lauren at. Like, I'm not worried about how many t-shirts the person down the street got, or whatever they doing with their business. That's good, because guess what? People wear shirts every single day. People wear shirts every single day. They can wear my shirt today, yours tomorrow, the next person that day, the next person that day, and they still gonna wear more shirts. So I'm not competing with nobody. I'm here. I'm competing against myself. I'm competing against yesterday. I'm competing against 2 years ago. I'm competing against the kid who thought that he was going to make $1 million selling drugs. That's who I'm competing against.
Wow. Whoa. Listen, this has been so good. So we getting ready to wind down, but this is so excellent. Everything that you said, you just dropped so many gems and so many nuggets. Your transparency, I'm sure, has helped many people. It has helped me. I'm thinking right now. And another thing I want people to get is that the mentor has a mentor.
Absolutely.
The coach
I have
has
a few mentors.
Yes, the mentor has a few mentors. The coach has a coach. The therapist has a therapist. If you have people that you are connecting with and they're a mentor and they don't have a mentor, you need to ask them some questions. If they are a coach and they don't have a coach, you need to ask them some questions. We have to be continually poured into, because we are continually emptying out when we are mentors and coaches and therapists and pastors and all these other things and teachers. So be sure you know who your people are connected to. So before we wrap up, I just want to say, thank you to our sponsor, LaChaney Dance and Music Academy, located in Maplewood, New Jersey. Dance and music classes for children and adults. Visit www.lachaney.com to schedule an intro class or call 973-378-3877, 973-378-3877. I'd like to thank our sponsors and our partner, LaChaney Dance and Music Academy and Clean Everything LLC. Before we go, I really want you to tell everybody where they can find you and then give a final thought.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Facebook, Antoine Nelson, Antoine Nelson. On Instagram, Antoine, Antoine, Antoine the Influencer. On IG. And you can check my website out, AntoineNelson.com, AntoineNelson.com. I do personal development coaching and youth mentoring, and also check out my merch.
Yes. So I do you know Do It All from Lords of the Underground?
I don't know him personally, but I do know of him.
Y'all have to connect. I just feel like y'all need, I'm gonna connect y'all. I don't care. Y'all need to connect on so many levels of the things that he's doing and the things that you're doing. Y'all just need to be together. So I'm gonna make that happen, because I think that it's amazing how our Black men are powerful as they stand alone in their own communities. But to y'all two to come together, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine what'll happen for the children. He's the same as you, to take the youth out of the country. He does a lot in Newark, just so much stuff in Newark. And I just think that you guys would be a powerhouse team on something. So I just got to connect y'all. I just needed to get that out so you can remind me to connect y'all, because connection and collaboration is everything in our community as Black people. So many people are competing and fighting against each other when we need to connect and collaborate. So thank you, Antoine, for being here and for sharing your truth. And you have really just dropped some nuggets, some gems. You have really taught us some things that we did not know about Black men. And thank you for being vulnerable enough to share your story of your life early on up until now, and your journey of going through the prison system and being in a hole. Like, this is, listen, I be think this stuff we think be in the movies. Like, this is really happening to our Black men. It ain't just on the wire. This man been in a hole talking to himself. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of our men have mental illness from these situations that they've been in, because we think prison is a rite to passage. Like, oh, you ain't been to prison, something wrong with you. You ain't no man. You ain't really hood. And these things are detrimental to our Black men's health, between molestation and going to prison and not being able to find a job, and Black women pushing y'all down saying we the breadwinners and we don't need no man. There's a lot here to unpack. And I just want y'all, all the Black men, to know that I advocate for you. I support you. I have 3 Black sons, because people say, well, give you the right. I got 3 Black sons that went on my journey of life and that were damaged from me, because I believe most Black men, the first person who hurts them or damages them as a woman is their mother. And we need to reconcile that. We need to have these conversations with our sons and take our backpacks off of their backs in order for their journey to be light, and just their journey. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember what I tell you at the end of all my broadcasts: you deserve the best. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve the best. Now go get it. Peace.